The situation is characterized by the fact that we have an inclusive government in place, which has been inaugurated 9 months ago. And I think to a greater extent has responded to the needs of the people in addressing some of the economic and social conditions. But the government is now at a stage where, after the SADC Troika, has to address issues of implementation of the global political agreement, which will see this whole process gathering momentum in building the necessary confidence nationally and internationally.
Tell me what your relationship is like at the moment with Robert Mugabe.
We have a working relationship. We respect our different positions, so we relate to each other as President and Prime Minister of the country.
But is he a man you can actually do business with, considering the history between the two of you and the fact that he fought so hard not to get your democratic election recognised? Well,
we do appreciate, we do recognise our historical differences. But now that we have agreed, we have negotiated a new political dispensation, we work on that basis. What is the agenda of this new transitional formation that we have created? Which is to stabilize the economy and democratize the country. And that's the basis of our interrelation.
But do you talk to him? I mean, is he still the power broker? He is the president, you're the prime minister, you're in this political arrangement together, but does Robert Mugabe still maintain the most power in Zimbabwe?
He doesn't maintain any most power. The agreement says there is a shared, this is a shared compromise, there is shared authority between president, prime minister and cabinet, and that both of us have different responsibilities. And it's on that basis that we consult on issues. But of course, this is a coalition, and all coalitions have problems of cohesion. But to a large extent, I carry out my work, he carries out his work, and we all both report to cabinet on issues that are of importance.
And what about your own security, Morgan Tsvangirai? I mean, clearly you were very much targeted by Mugabe's people in the run-up to the elections and afterwards as well. Do you feel safe now in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, to a large extent, yes, I'm safe. I'm safe, and if there is any machinations about trying to target me, it has not been obvious. I think we've put in a mechanism of ensuring that there is peace and stability in the country. If there is any risk on my part as an individual, then no one is safe. But that's not the issue. The issue is, how do we make this new political dispensation work for the people of Zimbabwe? That's the most important thing.
But as we know, Robert Mugabe, he's 86 or so. I heard recently he's not in terrific health. How much longer do you think is he going to remain on, or can he feasibly remain on in power?
I'm not God who predicts somebody's lifespan. But yes, I think he's of an advanced stage. He's 86. I mean, 30 years in power is a toll on both physically and mentally. But I think that he's very much in charge of his life and of his faculties. And I'm sure that he can play a very significant role in ensuring that we have a smooth transition. That's his legacy.
But do you think he actually, at this stage, that is something he may acquiesce to, that he may finally acknowledge to himself that he is losing power and he might as well hand over to you or to somebody else?
Well, I don't know, but that's for him to answer. I can't answer for him. He has to make that decision himself.
But are you confident that this arrangement that you have at the moment between yourself and himself will last over the next couple of years to give Zimbabwe the chance to rebuild itself?
I have no doubt about this new political dispensation. It's a transitional phase. All transitions have got their own problems. But what we have to ensure is that what we want to achieve during this transition, so that when the people of Zimbabwe elect a government, it will not be disputed, one, and that there will be smooth acceptance of the result by all parties, the winners and losers.
And what about those who were very much opposed to you in Zimbabwe, those who, were going around intimidating people in the run-up to the elections? I mean, do you feel that they've accepted this, or do you think that they are trouble ahead?
Well, you have always to budget for resistance. You have to budget for that. It's not everyone who will say hallelujah, especially those that would have lost the patronage and the benefits of the previous arrangement. Obviously, they will not be happy. But certainly, I think for the majority of Zimbabweans, the last assessment is that 90% of Zimbabweans support the inclusive government, which means that we have an overwhelming support for change and for this process. So I have no doubt in my mind that this is the right direction for the country.
But what about those rogue groups that were going around the country? I mean, what's become of them?
They will always be there, and we will make sure that the government provides the security to the persons, provides the stability that is necessary in the country for investment and growth.
And what about the military? Again, you know, coming up to the time of the elections and then the disputed problems afterwards, we got the impression sometimes, I know watching it from Ireland, that maybe the military were swaying in terms of their loyalty to Robert Mugabe.
Well, you must understand these are national institutions. They are never partisan. Of course, their history is that they've been brought up during the liberation struggle. Some of them have been keen members of the liberation movement. And therefore, their party loyalties is unquestionable. They are Zanu-PF. We all accept. But what we negotiated was that these institutions are national. They are not partisan. And because they are national institutions, they have to uphold the rule of law. They have to uphold the constitutional principles that have been agreed. And so far, they've played that role.
What was it like for you on a personal basis over the last couple of years, fighting from a democratic point of view to get your party recognised and then to get your majority stake in the elections recognised? You ended up in jail at one stage because they intimidated you. I mean, what was it like as a human being having to put up with those challenges? Yeah,
obviously it has been an extraordinary experience. Under extraordinary circumstances. It's one thing to win an election, it's another thing to win power. And those were the circumstances. We knew what we were going in, that it was not going to be easy. The transition was going to be difficult. Those that will use violence and force who resist, but we have maintained our position that whatever change is going to come, it must be democratic, because that's the most sustainable basis of transformation that is necessary in the country. And I think to a large extent we have succeeded.
But you suffered tremendous tragic loss. You lost your wife in a car crash. There are some theories that Mugabe's people may have been behind that.
Well, I was part of that accident, and I still maintain that it was an accident. In circumstances in which these incidents happen, people are quick to make conclusions that are totally unfounded.
And how has it been for you over the last number of months, trying to get used to that and come to terms?
It has been an overwhelming year in all at a personal and political level. It has been quite a very heavy burden on my part as a person, but we have to move on. Susan is not going to come back. The loss is personal, and I have to live it on a daily basis.
Do you think all of the turmoil you've gone through, the personal loss, do you think they were all worth it for the recognition you have now got and the fact that you have achieved this monumental step in sharing power with Robert Mugabe?
I think our struggle has been genuine. Our struggle has been legitimate. The people of Zimbabwe fought for their independence, but they did not fight. Once they got their independence, they did not get their freedoms, and therefore our movement, which was created to achieve democratic change, has been resilient, has been consistent, because the people support it. So I suppose that as leader of this movement, I became the symbol of that struggle, and I think it is worth noting that it has been worth it.